Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I'm Jay King from Christian Outreach Center, and today I have someone here that I consider special and a wonderful friend of mine. And I met him actually last year, and we basically we had to do some commercial real estate. We were in the process of doing some business, and I just thank God so much for Javier. I'm going to introduce him and then let him introduce himself pretty soon. But I do want to say something before he gets started. But at this particular time, we just needed a commercial realtor. And so I had a friend of mine named Jesse that helped me sell a couple of my residential properties. And Jesse introduced me to this phenomenal young man, Javier, and he assisted us in actually the facilitating of selling some commercial property. And so, Javier, I want to thank you so much, just your
Mhm.
excellence, your humility. Thank you so much. You know, one of the things I'm learning is it's so important to have people in your life that can add value, and that's what you did. You added value to our life, so we really appreciate it. And also, too, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he's also a family man. And me and my mom, we just fell in love with him. We got a chance to go out to eat with him, and he shared with us his vision, and he shared with us a little bit about his company and about his family. He's a family man. He's a businessman and a very humble young man. And again, I just want to say thank you so much just for the things that you've done in our life. You made an impact on my life, and I just really appreciate it, Javier. But I'm going to introduce you to Javier. I'm going to let him basically tell you a little bit about himself, and we'll jump in and we'll go a little bit deeper. We want to encourage young entrepreneurs that are out there. We just want to let you know that you have potential on the inside of you. And you know what? Don't give up, because a lot of times life, it does throw obstacles our way. But I'm telling you, when you have people like Javier and different models that you can look at and that you can see where they've come from, it just really makes a large impact on your life. Go ahead, Javier. You can share a little bit with the people about who you are and what you do and where you come from.
Okay, I guess my full name is Javier Puente Jr. I'm with Stonebridge Real Estate. And I was telling Jamil earlier that in Corey that I was a former school teacher for 17, 16 plus years with the fourth ISD, from kindergarten, first, second, third grade to fourth grade and fifth grade. Native of Fort Worth. And I don't think I've told this to Jamil yet, but I attended Days of Allah, Daggett, James E. Gwynn, Morningside Middle, and 4 years at Dunbar High School. They're on Remy Avenue. So I'm a native of Fort Worth. I love Fort Worth. And I'll probably die in Fort Worth. It's just a great city. Cowboys and culture and country music and best barbecue there is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything I do for not just for my business, but also for my family. Uh, when I was a teacher, I would always tell the parents, I mean, you're the first teachers. I only have your kids for 8 months, but really, parents are the first teachers, and it's never too young. I had my kids starting at school at 2, 3 years old at a Lutheran church, even though we're Catholics. The work ethic, my father gave us that work ethic. My mother gave us the love of education, books, learning, have a better tomorrow than today, and learn from your past. And a lot of the things you hear all the time from business owners and gurus on the internet and YouTube, I know it sounds cliche sometimes, but there's a lot of truth in there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can hear it, but it's really not. Um, uh, you don't see it unless you actually act on it. So really, it's effort. I mean, you got to try. If you don't try, how do you know?
Yeah.
Uh, I work. I'm like Jamil. Like Jamil, Mr. King here. I'm a workaholic, but I do it for the family. I do it for my community. My wife and I, we tend to give a lot to the homeless, low income schools. Try to help out. It doesn't even have to be strangers. It could be even family and friends.
I want to
So
thank you.
yeah.
You know, Javier, I want to jump in here and say I want to thank you so much. You are really a giver. You did some things for us. You did some things for our church
Mhm.
that I won't put out there, but I thank you for it.
Mhm.
But one thing I will say is you gave us a microwave as well. You blessed us with a microwave,
Mhm.
a brand new. You remember that? A brand new free
Mhm.
microwave. And we were able to bless a family that didn't have a microwave. We were
Oh
able to give
wow.
that.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for that.
So yeah. I mean, feel free. Any questions? Even though I taught, I think at times when I was a teacher, I was learning more during math and English and geography than the
Mm,
kids themselves. So I mean, we're never too old to learn, and uh, I always think about the Bible and the Old Testament. I'm not an expert, but the Bible says that God giveth and God can taketh away. So what
Mm,
counts is what can you do with what you have.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you know you just got to do good. And my two boys are in New York. They're already college graduates. My daughter's pre med in Maine, and I've always told them since they're far apart. And my daughter's really quick. She's very she catches on really quick. When I told her your mom and I may not be there with you, but there's always someone there with you that sees everything. And she knew the
Mm,
answer. It was God.
mm,
So,
yes,
she
yeah,
knows, do right, do good, and just keep it real.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Let me ask you this question before we dive into the business side. One of the things I really did like about you when I first met you and I hooked up with you, you're really big on education. And how did you instill that education in your three children, your two boys and your one girl that you have? How did you really instill that educational value in them?
I guess since I was a teacher, I guess by nature, I'm kind of like a nerd, I guess. I'm always reading, learning, asking questions, being curious. Um, when we traveled every year, and like I said, I like to travel. I would even Mexico or different parts of the U.S. My kids would always come with us, always, always. San Diego, Florida, it doesn't matter. They would always come because it's one of the few times I can really appreciate not just the places, but also the history, the
Mm,
people, the food, the museums. I mean, just it's just awesome experience, and they would never forget that. And I know because when I was young, my dad didn't have much. I mean, he was working middle class, and my best memories of my youth are my trips to Mexico for 2 3 weeks. And I saw the disparity between the rich country and the poor country,
mm,
or selling candy on the streets at 2 in the morning. I mean, you don't see that
oh,
in the
wow.
U.S., but I saw that in Mexico. And they were shoeless. They had no shoes on. I mean, and you can tell they were not clean, 100%. But I mean, so you can't assume that everything that happens in the U.S. all over the world is going through the same, and it's not. I mean, I'm not saying that we're superior or we're better and bigger. Not necessarily. We're all
Yeah,
humans, and so
yeah.
it just some people need help, and some people that have a lot should do more. That there's a
Mhm.
responsibility there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you started off educating your kids with
Mhm.
culture,
Mhm.
exposing them to travel,
Mhm.
exposing them to different parts of the world, people that didn't have a lot, people that experienced poverty. They were able to see that.
Mhm.
And so, what kind of exposure, as far as you going to different countries, has it actually helped your children to be exposed to more? Just going to the
Um,
environments and countries that they've been to.
I think if anything, and I guess that sounds kind of cliche sometimes when other people say it, but not to take this country for granted.
Mm,
Um,
wow.
uh, we have jobs, we have food, we have shelter, we have clothing. Some countries don't have that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just, making the your community better, bigger, stronger. Also, your family.
Yes.
And really, one of the things that can help anybody, rich or poor, is really education. Really, it sounds cliche, but and it starts with reading. I always tell my kids when I was a teacher,
Wow.
readers become leaders, and it starts with reading.
Come on.
One thing that if you notice, like if you look at Oprah Winfrey, or one guy I'm really impressed, really, is Shaquille O'Neal.
Mm,
If you really look him as a businessman, he's very smart. Not only is he very tall, but he's very savvy. And he's making, he said, I read somewhere just a few days ago, he's making more money as a buzzman than he did as a basketball player. That's
oh, wow.
impressive.
That's
Emmett
amazing.
Smith, when he retired, he got into real estate and he
Yeah.
started making money. And one of his mentors was Roger Staubach, quarterback of the Cowboys. So you
Mm,
can always learn from others. It's not magic. I think the magic is the result. I think it's the
ooh,
process, the
come on.
the grinding.
Yeah.
That's what to get there. And anybody can get there. It's just you got to go through that process.
How did you transition from being in the school system to actually going into entrepreneurship? That's like a transfer of cultures. How did you manage that?
Man, that was like yes and no. Like I said, I went to Dunbar for engineering, and I guess I got burned out. So I got a scholarship to go to Miami. They're in Florida, the Hurricanes, and I was there for architecture. But during the
Oh,
summer
wow.
times, I would work in construction, from roofing, floors, you name it, framing, remodeling. And then I spent almost a year in Houston for physics, and then I came back to UTA and got my degree in economics
Mm.
and pre-law with a history minor. And during that time, I was working at UPS. I met my wife there, and my wife is in the mortgage business, in the banking. So you know how teachers have second jobs? Well, because I had my two kids in private school, parochial, I needed some extra money to pay for that. So my second job was real estate, and I just got good at it. I mean, I was working. It's kind of weird. I was working like two full-time jobs, but I was never counting my hours because I was doing something that I really, really enjoy and was kind of good at it. So I just kind of, just keep doing more of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so, can you tell us what you do now, as far as kind of explain to the people what you're doing now, as far as in that real estate space, kind of what you're doing,
Uh,
what type of company you have right now?
Well, when I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When I met my wife, I knew early on, almost 29 years ago, we've been married almost 29 now, that I wanted to invest, I guess you could say, into my kids' education or future, and also through invest also in real estate, any extra money we had. And that's what I did. I mean, if I can give them to like a camp in the summertime to go somewhere and it costs money, so be it. I'll pay it. Make a trip to Europe and visit a few countries. I save money, pay for that. In terms of the real estate, any extra money I had, I started about over 12 years ago. I started investing into homes, a duplex, and one thing I learned really, the more you do something and you get good at it, you become more efficient. You can do more of it. In other words, you can get bigger, and so you're kind of like in a learning curve. And as you practice and get better at it, you make less mistakes and you start making better and quicker decisions. So, yeah, my first properties were, I was learning, but now I'm going to a multi units. So, like duplex, triplex, fourplex, nineplex, commercials. Um, and the more you do, it actually gets easier. And sometimes I feel like I want to, how to say this? Not so much, I guess, teach others, but also spread the word. Like how we spread the word in the Bible, the Gospels, and everything, the letters from Saint Paul. Same thing with business, like this podcast. Just spread the word. I mean, anybody can do it if you really, really want to. And one thing is kind of ironic. You can't really do it for the money. I mean, the money, like when mom says, the money will follow you. So really, the money is not the priority. Your priority is your the bigger picture. What do you want to do with that success, and then that money will follow you. You know.
That's awesome. So you started off with residential
hmm
property, single family homes,
Yes.
and you moved from single family to duplexes.
hmm
And
Yes.
now I know you have a few multi units
Yes.
that you manage as well.
hmm
And so let me ask you this, and I know a lot of the people that are listening that are probably they know real estate is a very powerful industry, but how has the market shifted from several years ago to now? Due to COVID-19 and a lot of different things that's going on. If someone's wanting to get into real estate, is it better for them to start off with a single family space, or is it better for them to venture into the multifamily unit? Because I know the economy is so different now, and I know you taught me this as well. It's important to have a coach in any industry that you go into, especially in the
hmm
21st century. But what would you say? What's the difference now? Should they start in real estate as from the perspective of just a single family, or should they get into the multifamily units? What's your thoughts on that?
Uh, I'll be honest. I don't discriminate between single and multi units.
Okay.
To me, it's almost like it's really the price. If the price is good, like I just bought a duplex. And I went in the city, but it was in a suburb, and it's in good condition. I already, because I guess I'm in the real estate business, and I know the market very well.
Is that
Probably
the
worth
property?
two.
Is that the property in White Settlement you were telling me about?
Yeah, yes, I had that one. So
How's it
uh,
going?
yeah, it's going good. I mean, it's phenomenal. So it was such a great deal. Where in essence, I purchased it about almost 50 cents on a dollar, 55 cents on a dollar. And
Mm,
so that means if you know your math,
wow.
then at 50 cents on a dollar, then on day one, you basically doubled your money.
So,
But
for example, for those that don't know the percentage, if you let's just say, for example, if you bought that home for 500,000, then you got it for 250,000. Or if it was worth a 500,000, I said like that, you got it for two
yes,
hundred fifty
yeah.
thousand.
So you just doubled. So to me, it's the equity, the instant equity. But one thing I like it really is the cash flow.
Mm.
Where that example, I'm getting 2,200 in revenue, 2,250, but my mortgage payment, P&I, is only like 920.
Oh
So I
wow.
got like $1,200 per month on that just one property, minus the
Awesome.
expenses. Then I think I net around 800 a month.
Oh
But if
wow.
you divide it by four, I'm making $200 a month only because I'm the owner of that duplex. So
Mm.
you start thinking like that. You start working numbers. And the magic, really, I'll be honest with you, the magic is on the purchase. So you make your money on the purchase. I hear a lot of people paying retail, dollar for dollar, but it's going to take you 10 years to start making equity, or whatever, 7 years. I can't do that. I want to make. I want to start making money now. So the question is, how do I find those deals? And that's really where you really have to work at it. Ask questions, look around. Any boarded homes, tall grass. Maybe you hear somebody from church that you have this maybe older couple that has an extra house that they just want to get rid of. Well, you start talking to them, asking questions, see how you can help. Um, uh, I mean, it can be it can be very it can be good investments more so than the stock market. Right now, I shouldn't be saying this. I bought some Facebook stock thinking it
Oh
was going to
yes.
go up 2 days
It's
ago,
booming.
and
Yes,
it's still going
Facebook.
down.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So,
going down now.
you can't trust the stock market, but I can
Yeah,
trust real
yeah.
estate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let me ask you this though, and it's neat to hear you say what you said, because it seems like you don't chase money, but you open your mind up to opportunities,
Mhm.
and I like that. And how did you get that particular opportunity? How did it open up to you? Did it come through a
Just
person or
from
through a client?
through a friend of a friend,
Okay.
gave us the lead. That friend couldn't purchase it, so I said, you know what, let's take a look at it. I liked it. I saw the numbers and wrote the contract.
Oh
Got
wow.
it. It's really knowing your market. The only what I'm trying to say is it's not easy. It does take work. There's a great website. I think I told Mr. King about it. It's biggerpockets.com. It's free. It's on the internet. Biggerpockets.com. It's phenomenal.
Oh wow.
You don't have to pay for those courses. Do not pay for those courses. You're just wasting your money. You learn a lot from their mentors, other investors that have done it. You can learn from them. YouTube is also good, but you got to be careful because there's a lot of them that basically want your money. Pay
Yeah.
for those courses, and really just experience. I mean, it's one thing to say something, but to actually do it is different, and that's where you're going to learn the most is by doing it. You
Oh.
know, if you can buy something that it's worth nowadays, maybe something that's worth 150, you can get it for 100,000. That's pretty good. And the
Hmm.
question to ask as an investor is, are you flipping? Are you buying, fix it up, and then sell it for a little profit, or are you going to hold? And my
Hmm.
wife and I, we hold.
You hold.
Um, just to put it in perspective, we have, and I'm trying to brag or anything, just an example. We have about 12 properties and 25 doors. And when I say doors, I mean 25 renters. Just by holding those properties in the last 2 years, our equity went up over 400,000.
Oh wow.
Just remember think of what I just told you. It went up 400,000 in the last two
Amazing.
years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I'm very great. I'm grateful. I'm humble. I mean, I can, and at the same time, you can do other things to the community. Help
Definitely.
other people, help schools, help churches. It doesn't even have to be just the Christian church. It could be the Buddhist temple. It could be, uh, you know, some other affiliates or believers. I mean, as long as they're doing good, that's all I care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And just to see your success and where you come from is incredible. I remember you were telling me about you were talking about the multifamily unit,
Mhm.
and how's that been going with just working with all the tenants that you have in that multifamily unit area? That's
Great.
in
I mean,
Fort Worth,
I
right? In Fort Worth, right? That's in Fort Worth.
yeah, Fort Worth. I have one in a different county,
Okay.
Jag County. But
Yeah.
I have one special lady that her husband died. She's going through some tough times, and she was able to get some help from the city.
Okay.
And And I'm glad she did because I was on the verge of evicting her, and she was almost 3 months behind. But I waited and waited and prayed and prayed, and the city gave her the money, so she was
Oh wow.
caught up.
Wow.
But she was the only one. Everybody else, yeah, they did what they could, and I mean, it was some tough times during this COVID-19, the last 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But you
It's not
got through it,
easy.
huh? You got
Yeah.
through it though. You did
Yes.
get through it.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
awesome. What would you say some things as far as to encourage entrepreneurs? What's some ways that we can really change our mindsets? And I know you said reading is real important, but what are some different ways people can really change their thinking? I know some people are used to working for the corporate world, and
Mhm.
being able to make that transition from corporate world to being self-sufficient and being a business owner. What's some things that they can do, even if they don't go into real estate, but they're just trying to educate themselves on being independent financially? What would you say? How would you encourage them? You've been
Um,
successful and you making that transition.
yeah, I think there's two things, and this is just from what I've seen and I guess what I've experienced, and even my two sons, they're in their mid 20s. Um, a lot of people say, manage your money, budget your money, which I think is key right there. Don't go crazy and buy the most expensive shoes or the most expensive suits and like that. Just within your means.
That's
But another
good.
thing also, for especially corporate America, because everything's so fast and connected and changing all the time, so dynamic. I think also when I see this with my two boys is manage your time.
Mm,
That's so key. Manage time, manage money, and also and once you start with having a supervisor job or manager job, how to manage people. So
mm.
if you can do those three things, I mean, you become very powerful. And I
Go
see this
back
through
to
my sons.
Go back to what you just said. It was really good. Now, can you give an example of how you throughout a day will manage your time throughout the day? How you would just manage your time? And do you are you when you say manage your time? Do you have a schedule on things that you're wanting to accomplish within a span period of time? How do you do that?
Yes, yes. Uh, I'm very visual, so I'm always planning what I'm going to do tomorrow and what I have to do by Friday and what I have to do next week and next month. So in my mind, and if you forget, have a calendar. A calendar. I think iPhones have a good thing where you can just speak to it and go straight to your calendar on your iPhone.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of have a kind of like a game plan, so that way, you know what you have to do in the morning. It doesn't have to be a specific time, but you know it must be done.
Mhm.
And one of the best advices I got as a teacher, and I tell this to my three kids, even my wife, because everything's so hectic and everything, you just get, surprises and deadlines and just, things that just, must be done today.
Mhm.
Then with the best advice I got from this lady from North Texas, and I live by that. She goes, you do what's due first, DUE. So if
Mm.
you know something is due in 5 minutes, another thing is due in one and tomorrow. Well, guess what? The thing is due right now. You got to do it. No buts or
Yeah.
ifs. That's
Yeah.
high priority. So I
Wow.
kind of live by that. I mean, so like when I'm working on a project, I know I have, let's say, three guys there for tomorrow. Well, I got to make sure they have the material, they have the equipment. Do we have electricity there? Do we have enough material? What designs are we working on? At what stage are we in the construction? Are we in the drywall, cabinets, floors, fixtures? So I have to know where we at in what phase or what process.
Mm.
So that way there's no interruptions. Everything can run smooth. And one thing when I'm in a project or when I'm teaching or working with investors also as well, if you don't know something, pause and let's find out. I mean, don't
Mm.
don't guess because that guessing can cost you some money.
Wow.
So even in real estate, if there's something I just don't know, I'll make a few phone calls and try to get those answers.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
so yeah, manage your time, money, and if you're in the management role, how to manage people. So yeah.
Mhm. And
Mhm.
you know, it's funny that you're saying that because that's really good. And you learning to manage people has led you into the space of actually becoming a broker.
Mhm.
And now you have your own real estate brokerage firm. Can you
Mhm.
tell us the name of the company and the
Uh,
website?
yeah, it's kind of like play with words. My last name is Puente, and Puente means bridge. So my company's name is Stonebridge Real Estate.
Mm. Awesome.
And we
Awesome.
do have a website, Stonebridge NTX, like for North Texas, NTX.net.
Mhm. And your brokerage, real estate brokerage company is in Fort Worth, Texas, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're just east of downtown Beach in
And
Belknap.
we got a chance. Me and my mom got a chance, and to come to your office,
Hmm.
and you showed us around, and
Hmm.
it's really nice office. And I'm just really, I'm proud of you, Javier, man.
Hmm.
And I love to see you're a minority, and I love to see
Hmm.
minorities really doing good within the
Hmm.
industry. And number one, what's so awesome about you is you put God first, and
Hmm.
that's one of the things that really attracted me about you is your love for God and your love for people. And that's really awesome. I saw all the things that you do that you don't talk about.
Hmm.
You do so much. It's just incredible, and it really did. It really humbled me, man. And I'm just really glad to know you. I've learned a lot from you, and I won't touch a real estate deal without contacting you.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
serious about that. And so let me ask you this though: is there opportunities out there in this kind of market? Because like what you said before, things are priced so high right now, man.
Hmm.
So are we supposed to just, like you said, just look for the opportunity and just sit back and wait? Because like I said, some of these deals, the price is just ridiculous on these houses.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you
actually
do?
a very good question. I would kind of backtrack a little bit. For you to take advantage of an opportunity, there's two major things that I would recommend, maybe three. Uh, uh, um, uh, have your financing ready, unless you're going to pay cash, which is even harder to do than getting the loan. But have your financing ready.
Mm,
Know your budget. Is 200,000. Let's say, I don't know, $200,000 loan for the purchase, and maybe you have another 20, 30,000 cash or 401k or line of credit or credit cards to do the repairs. So have your financing ready. Second, be on the lookout for the opportunities. And then when it comes across, then you don't hesitate. I mean, you just go for it because you've already know the pricing. Even though you have Fort Worth, Texas, and Tarrant County, different zip codes and different neighborhoods that have different prices. So then you got to know what price point are you targeting. Are you targeting the middle class, working class? Are you targeting upper middle class? I mean, there's different price points. Right now, and this is what's going on with the real estate in not just Fort Worth but also Dallas County, is that anything in my opinion, anything under, I would say for sure anything under 250 right now, it's brutal.
mm,
And if you know anything about statistics, the bell curve, the 250 below market, it's like 70% of the market. I mean, it's just right there. So if you can find something, let's say for 150, 180, and you can sell it for 250, 270, trust me, you will sell it like that quick. I mean, it's a slam dunk. I mean, it doesn't take, it'll be a slam dunk. But if you get something, let's say, that example, you get something for 230 and then you're trying to sell it for 250, 20,000 difference, you're going to be working for free because as you're doing a project, and Jamil knows this, you don't know what surprises you have. You know that old expression, Murphy's Law.
oh yeah,
Murphy's Law is like basically the surprise you weren't expecting, but you got to deal with it.
yeah. You got to deal.
So,
Yeah.
you think the roof is okay, you start working, the next thing you know, you have black mold all over the attic. Well, guess what? You got leaks going into the attic, which means you have to probably replace that roof, and then that roof on a 1,500 square foot home, you're going to pay somewhere around $10,000. That's
Mm,
a lot of money.
it is. Yeah.
So I mean, you really have to learn as much as you can the pricing. Right now, the wood was very expensive here in the last 6 months.
Mm,
Uh, know your competition, know your limits because you can't do it all. I mean, like Jamil knows, I try to hire people, have
mm,
people that I can trust with experience,
wow.
and if they win, I win, we all win. Finish that project, we'll try to do another project. But
Mm.
you can't do it by yourself. I mean, trust me, you cannot do it on your own.
Come on, man. Come on. That's awesome. So the name of your company is Stonebridge
Yes, real estate.
Real Estate.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
for those of you that are watching, Stonebridge Real Estate, and you're in the position to do residential and commercial.
Mhm. Yes.
And so where is most of your experience at? Is it more on the commercial end or the real estate end, or what would you say? I know you do
Um,
both.
I would say residential. I
Mm,
do commercial every year, but I do lots of residential only because there's more of a market. Uh,
I can't even tell the difference, man. I mean, when we worked with you and we did that commercial deal, you were
mhm,
just on top
mhm.
of it. And
Yeah.
you brought man about maybe like 3 or 4 different buyers at the
Mhm.
table.
Yeah.
And what I like about you is with your clients, you educate them through the process.
Mhm.
And you were educating me so much, I was all ears. I was just listening to you,
Mhm.
and you were just helping me understand the different ways to negotiate with
Mhm.
the 3 to 4 different type of deals that we had.
Mhm.
I thought that was really incredible because some of the people that you brought to the table, you helped me to realize how desperate this deal was. This guy's desperate for it.
Mhm.
This guy's more laid back, and it
Mhm.
was neat because I can tell that you know about psychology because you could pick up on the temperaments of the actual buyers. And so it was almost like when we went with you, you already educated us through the process and you walked us right through it. And
And
so,
it was key what you were saying that about the different buyers, that a lot of people think real estate is, buildings and land, but really real estate, like the church and school, it's a people business. I
mm,
mean, you got to be able to relate, to communicate to, with people, because it is a people business. I mean, without people, there's no business,
yeah,
and so, I mean, be able to listen, to talk, not to insult,
mm,
and be fair, be
mm,
fair, but at the same time, maximize the potential gain you can have, of that purchase or the sale of the, it's just so how to be optimal, but at the same time, how to work with people. It
yeah.
is so, so key.
Oh, wow, that's good. And that's what you just said. Time management. You broke it down into 3 steps. Time management of you said your money. You said also
Yeah,
people.
hopefully manage, probably first your time, manage your time,
Manage your time,
manage your money,
money,
and manage people. And one
people.
thing it's funny, I deal a lot with, I help a lot of homeless people around the Riverside area, and I give their pep talks, because I try to, instead of giving them money, I'll give them a job for the day,
Oh
and so
wow.
I'll give them their pep talks, and I told them, as you get older, you kind of learn a little bit more from last year. And what I told him, if you can take care of your job or your business, and whatever that gives you, is the money, you take care of that money, take care of your job, take care of your money. Those two things will take care of your family.
Oh
But it
wow.
starts with those first two. I mean, if you don't take care of your job, you can take care of your family. How are you going to feed and clothe and, help your kids and your wife, or your grandma, or your aunt,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's just, you just got to do good. I mean, kind of like the laws of attraction. Good brings more good, and bad brings bad. There's a
Most
reason why
definitely.
criminals are in jail, because they're doing bad.
Oh
They,
wow.
they brought it to themselves.
Come on now.
And then you have good people that it seems like he says that person is lucky. Good things happen to that person. Yeah, but look at what he or she's doing.
There you go.
You know,
All right.
so I mean,
That sounds like the law of cause and effect, huh?
yeah.
Most
So.
definitely. Yeah. Well, Javier, I just appreciate you for just jumping on here and just sharing some keys with us. And I want to let you know that we're praying for you. I'm praying for your family. I'm praying for your business, and we believe God for the best for your business and your family. And we just want to thank you for coming on. Do you want to give us any last words of encouragement to anyone that may be watching, entrepreneurs or business
Well,
owners?
but this is kind of connected in a way. I saw a lot of, gloominess. I see it a lot, on YouTube, Facebook, even people that I talk to in person. And personally, when I'm having a tough day, believe it or not, a lot of people say, I'll pray, but usually they mean by praying in the morning or at night. I'll pray all day long. Even a simple prayer like just Our Father. I mean, I'll pray like every hour, and
Yes.
and then at the end, you just tell yourself tomorrow's a new day. If
Yeah.
today's a bad day, it can be bad day, back to back. It has to be, tomorrow has to be better. So sometimes just go to bed early. I mean, if you can't think straight, or you just having negative thoughts,
Yeah.
go outside, go for a walk.
Most
Just get out of the house, go to the park. It's free.
yeah.
Go walking around the house, around the neighborhood. That's free. And tomorrow's a new day. I mean, it will get better.
Yeah. And prayer. And when I met you before, I could tell you were really connected to God because prayer has so many facets. I think it's a state of mind. It's how you live. It's how you connect with God. It's how you treat other people. And so that's one thing that I really really did learn from you. is I love how you carry yourself, but I love how you treat people. That meant a lot to me. And so, like I said, I thank God for our relationship, and I'm excited about the future. And
And
you're
Jamil,
also go
mhm.
ahead, go ahead.
No,
You
if I
want to
can share this, this one I heard it about 2 years ago. It gave me goosebumps when I heard it,
say?
and
Mhm.
it's something that I guess I would never forget. But I read it somewhere where the greatest miracle or the greatest gift that God gave each one of us is our life. I mean, that's the
Mm,
greatest gift that God gave us. But if you ask that same person who you're telling, what is your greatest gift to God from us?
mm.
And you get different answers. And
Yeah,
really, our greatest gift is how you live that life that He gave
that's
you.
awesome. Whew,
And
man,
if you
that's
need
awesome.
the and if you need the example, just look at Jesus. I mean, look at the Gospels. It's all right there.
Yeah.
We talked about this one time where love, it's I know this has nothing to do with real estate, but it's
Oh,
about
go
life.
ahead.
It's,
Wonderful.
it's, it's
Go ahead.
where to care for someone, to love, romantic love, brotherly love. Okay, that's kind of obvious, but there's
Mhm.
a second part to that love, and it's the hardest part, and that's to forgive.
Mm,
And you have to forgive not just friends and family and enemies. And the hardest one to forgive, really, if you really think about it, is to forgive yourself,
yeah.
because sometimes the harshest the hardest critic is us, ourselves, and you
Hmm.
just have to let it go. I mean, let it go, and tomorrow's a new day, and you know just do good, improve yourself, and don't worry about what other people's have. I see this on Instagram and YouTube,
Oh yeah.
where the fancy car and the
Yes.
dancing and all this quirkiness. I mean, there's one thing. How to say this? I'm not trying to criticize or judge, but
No, no,
I mean,
no.
all that takes time. So that
Yes.
time can be used to work, take a class at night, or take some classes learning how to do something, a business class, or read a book, or maybe work a part-time job. Let's say you keep your day job, but you want to learn about real estate. Maybe get a part-time job with someone working part-time to learn more about real estate, or
Yeah.
construction, or accounting,
Yeah.
instead of doing those crazy silly videos you see on the internet. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I
It's
guess
just
I'm getting
funny, man.
old.
I
I mean,
understand
I'm
where you're
just getting.
coming
I'm old fashioned.
from. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. We somewhat too. I'm Generation X, so I'm in between the baby boomers and I'm in between the millennials.
Yeah.
So I understand totally where you're coming from. And
Mm.
and I will say this that it's just it's amazing, man. I think us both as successful entrepreneurs, one of the greatest feelings is when you can afford something, but you don't have to necessarily buy it.
Exactly.
And that's one thing I know. You talked about it, and just seeing your life, you being a successful. And I say this humbly, you're a multimillionaire just through real estate. And that's incredible. But a lot of things that you can afford, I've watched you and I've watched how you act, I've watched how you move, and I've watched your thought process. There's a lot of things that you can afford that you don't necessarily buy
Mm-hmm.
because wanting something is different from needing something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important. We have to know the difference between what we want and what we need. And so my gratification, really for me, I'm not really materialistic, but my gratification for me is when I develop the skill set and the patience and the discipline to be able to afford something, but
Mm-hmm.
don't have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
I thank God for the ability to have the discipline and to be able to afford it more than I want things that maybe other people desire they can't afford. And so that's what I've learned about you, and I've learned about a lot of other successful entrepreneurs. Before we go, you maybe can tell them about some of the people that you sat down with and met, where these people, the more they make and as they increase their value, they live beneath their means. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to do that. The more money they make, the more they start to spend. You know what I mean? But you told me about that one successful guy that you were with, and it just blew your mind. Remember the guy do you know the guy that I'm talking about that you told me about? You sat down with him for a while, and I think you said he was a billionaire.
Yes.
You
True
remember that?
story. A few years
Yeah,
ago,
go ahead.
this how most people have, like in my case, like your Jamil, rental properties, or they have stocks, 401k. Well,
Mhm.
this guy has a portfolio of buildings, medical buildings.
Skyscrapers.
I'm sorry,
Did you say
skyscrapers.
sky? Oh my
Yeah, I
god.
mean I mean he's real. I mean it's just weird. But if you see him, he had tennis shoes, khaki pants, and a white shirt.
Oh
He had
wow.
a leather briefcase with the handles and duct tape around him. And mind you, this guy's a billionaire.
Wow.
Um, um,
Amazing.
he was driving a Datsun, not a Nissan. This is maybe 8 years ago. He was driving a Datsun with no AC. And this is in the summertime. He had no AC because he didn't want to spend money on fixing it.
Yeah.
But he loves buildings, and the reason I knew him is because he was a private lender to a few of his employees to basically finance their purchase, and he would do it because there were superintendents in those buildings, and we did that about 3 or 4 times. And his name was Mr. Murphy from Seattle, but he guy was brilliant. So to me as a teacher, I was curious, why do you keep buying and selling buildings? And I never thought about this. And this is, you're at a different level. He goes, he was buying for depreciation because he was at the highest tax brackets. By having a depreciation, he was able to minimize his taxes. And by minimizing his taxes, he keeps more of his money. And then he started mentioning something about 1031 exchanges, where if you sell a property, you don't have to pay taxes on those on the profit, and just use that money to buy more real estate. And a lot of well-to-do people do that. It's called 1031 exchange.
Oh, wow.
That's something that sometimes the working folks don't know about. But trust me, the people that have money, they know it. They know that.
Yeah.
And I just learned a lot. And with him, it was really not. It wasn't about the money. It's if you ever see Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful,
Yeah.
I follow him, and it's really what he says all the time. It's really about freedom. Like you were mentioning, if you want to go to Hawaii, you can go to Hawaii. You want to write a check for 10,000 to the church, you can do it. You want to donate some money to the women's shelter, you can do it. Or the food bank, you can do it. I mean, there's no stopping you. You can do, it's that freedom. Because one thing you cannot buy more of, and Mark Cuban says this, it's time.
Yeah.
So you got to use it wisely, productively,
And so, and people don't understand sometimes when we're talking about, we're not saying you shouldn't have nice things. We're not saying you shouldn't buy nice things. But to me, the mindset is better than the things. I'd rather have the mindset and the ability to be able to think right, behave right, hook up with the right people. That's worth more than things. And so I think sometimes when people go after the things, they forsake the mindset. They forsake having the right way of thinking. I think is more important, because Jesus said, if you seek first the kingdom of God, the word kingdom really just means God's way of doing things. And if we do things the right way, then everything else will be added. And so that's what you've done, and you're a good example of it. That's why I wanted to talk with you. I love talking to people that speak the very philosophy in which they live, and you live your philosophy.
And trust me, I guess I'm the first. I guess I am diabetic. I have to confess, I'm diabetic. I need to reduce my sugar, but I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't womanize. I don't, gambling. I mean, just I guess, just try to be a family man. Try to do good and work hard and have a better tomorrow. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, and then help others that need help. Because it is weird because I do try to give as much as I can, and it seems like God gives me more to work with. So now I got to do more.
Well, thank you for what you've done with me as well, and even the seed that you sown into our life that you gave. We appreciate that, and I thank God for our relationship. I want to pray with you before we dismiss.
Okay.
Father God, I just thank you for Javier. I thank you for continuing to bless his life and bless his family, and I speak healing over his body. And I thank you that his body is completely healed. We thank you, Father, that he walks in divine health, spirit, soul, and body. And we just thank you, Father, the best is yet to come in Javier's life. And the people that are listening to us today, we thank you, Lord, that they have potential on the inside of them. And we want to encourage them that they can do and be and have the good in which they desire. And everyone that's listening to us today, we just thank you for giving them strength to face the vicissitudes of life, the storms of life. Give them strength to understand that they can tap into their potential. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.
Amen. Amen.
Well, Javier, thank you so much. We got to do this again,
Okay.
And we'll talk about maybe some other subjects when you come back next time. But I appreciate your time.
No, thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You too.
God bless you.